Good evening, PA Figs here. So I just wanted to give a quick update on where we're at this season. The spring has been absolutely miserable. I mean, absolutely miserable. I have a few trees in the greenhouse here still going strong, but you'll notice that the greenhouse is absolutely packed with trees, flowers, my plumeria, my papaya. I mean, just it's packed in here. And the reason for that is it hasn't stopped raining in about a month. It has been cold, wet, and absolutely miserable. We actually had a frost warning 2 nights ago, mid-May. Normally our last frost here is sometime in April, and mid-May I was out here pulling stuff into the greenhouse and trying to cover some of the figs outside here, and you can see the trees are suffering. You know, they're really not growing, and a lot of the leaves are starting to come down with, you know, it almost looks like rust or some sort of, I don't know, mold or mildew, and they're just not growing. Normally by this time I'd have, figs starting to form, and these are the ones that I actually had in the greenhouse. You can see all this growth here is new growth from the greenhouse, and it's got figs that want to pop, they want to come out, but it's just too cold, and there really hasn't been much growth at all. A lot of the trees that I brought out that I didn't have in the greenhouse don't really have much growth. They finally spit out some full-size leaves after being out here for almost a month, but we are weeks behind where we were last year at this point. And it's just been a lousy start to the season. It warmed up real early, which caused the trees to start to leaf out in the garage. So then I had some sun damage when I brought them out. You can see some of the sun damage on this leaf here. And then once I got them out here, we had a couple nice days and they started to adjust. And then it's just been cold and miserable. And so all this new growth that started on a lot of these trees, it just sort of stalled. It's really not putting out much new growth. It's actually starting to lignify a little bit due to the cold. And so they're not popping out figs. It's just been kind of miserable. So it's not all lost. I mean, there's still a lot of season left, especially for the early cultivars. The later cultivars are the ones I'm worried about. So, this is my large black Madeira, and normally I would want my figs setting on this already. Little figlets the size of rice or a little bit bigger. And you can see I've got none. I mean, there's ones that are starting to pop out a little bit. I mean, you can see the second node forming on some of these trees. Like, it wants to put out figs, but I think it's saying, hey, it's too cold. I'm not ready. Even my air layers, they were ready to cut. I thought I'd need maybe a week or two, and they've started to, not put out roots. They're sort of stalled, and it's just a shame. So, this black Madeira, normally these figs will take at least 3 months, maybe 4, to ripen. And so if you're talking 4 months, that's going to be June, July, August, September. You're talking start of October to get these figs to ripen. And at that point, the cold starts setting in, and you're not going to get real good figs. So I'm afraid it's not going to be a real good year for my black Madeiras. Luckily, I have a greenhouse I can put them in to get some to ripen. But you can see there's a little bit of hope. Here's one of my Pretos, which is very similar to the black Madeira. And you can see there's a fig there. I mean, that's what I'm expecting. That this time of year, that's what I should be seeing on all these trees, especially the ones that I gave an early start in the greenhouse. And normally the Pretos and the black Madeiras would have these at every node. And you can see this Preto is actually doing better than the black Madeira is. But the trees are few and far between that have fruit on them at this point. And it's going to be a tough season. Everything that's normally ripening in July is probably going to ripen in August, and everything that's ripening in August is probably going to ripen in September. So at this point, all we can do is hope for a quick turnaround of the weather and hope that we have a real hot and dry summer to get these, trees taken off here. There's still hope to get back on track. I mean, I would guess we're about 2 weeks behind, maybe a little more. I haven't really looked back at my old videos to see, but I did see some old pictures come up on my Facebook feed, and I do know that we're probably 2 weeks behind. So unfortunately, the forecast is a couple more nights in the 40s here this week, and at least 5 of the 10 days in the 10-day forecast are calling for rain. So it's going to be a long spring. Even the grapes. I mean, this grapevine I would have expected to have grown out already and started to grow out along this corridor I have set up, and it just really hasn't. There's a little growth on it. You can see some of the grapes are starting to form here. Let's see if I can zoom in on them. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pick them up, but they are, yeah, there we go. Finally starting to put out some grapes at least. But if this weather continues like this, boy, it's gonna be a real long season. I brought some of the figs inside because of the cold. You can see here's a younger fig. This is a Martenica ramata striped fig, and it was growing real strong and healthy, and you can see it's just not doing great. It put out some of these leaves here before it got cold, and they're kind of stalled out a little bit. I wasn't expecting figs off of this tree this year, but I was hoping for a lot of growth, at least to get it into a larger pot maybe by the end of the season. This Italian 258 has a nice fig on it. Again, this was in the greenhouse and I brought it in during some of the cold nights, but even this fig doesn't look incredibly healthy right now, so hopefully it'll hold on until the warmer weather gets here. But boy, it's been a rough start to the spring. So, well, here's to better weather and hopefully some warmer weather. Hope wherever you folks are located are having a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of warmth, and your figs are taking off. This is PA Figs, and hopefully better news in my next update.